All right. So, should we jump in?
Let's just jump
Okay,
right
let
on
me
in.
go ahead and show what we got here.
Show us what you got.
Show us what you got. All right. So, KB was really good enough to give us a Google Sheets sheet, which is good. And occasionally what I'll do is I'll alt tab between Google Sheets and Streamlabs.
Okay.
All right. So, KV, go ahead and take a minute to explain what it is you're looking for. You've kind of talked to me about it. Take your time. You know, if you want to type up a full paragraph, we can talk a bit in general. Because what this is primarily dealing with, and KV's going to write up the particulars, is coming up with brainstorming for things like skills in a game. You know, they call them skills in RPG Maker, but it's basically just character abilities, powers, magic, sorts. They all fall under the same umbrella.
Is it names or is it the actual mechanic, the powers themselves?
I think based off of what KV said, and again, he's going to type up exactly what he's looking for. It's more along the lines of the names are there, but it's, you know, we got the same thing, which is heal HP to ally.
Right.
You know, raise attack, raise defense. And KV did a good job of explaining to me how his battle system works. And type that up as well, so it's not just for our benefit, but for chat's as well.
Yeah, because chat is also going to help brainstorm. Yeah. We're all going to help.
We're all going to work together. This is a challenging part of game development, especially RPGs, which, remember guys, at its heart, an RPG is nothing but a series of data tables. You know, yes, it's got glitz, it's got glamour, but you can technically make a turn-based RPG with nothing more than just a bunch of data tables and text.
That's true.
You know, so...
slap a story on it.
No, you do. All right, so KV says, I am crafting the skills for my game's party members. The spreadsheet is representation of all the skills I thought of so far, but I need to figure out which skills should make the cut, which need modifying. Exactly.
How many people are in the party? Yeah,
let's tell us. So again, as you're typing, tell us the premise behind the battle system, which has a unique thing. It's not just about cranking and tanking or, you know, tanking and spanking the enemy.
Right.
And then answer Teal's question of roughly how many people are in the party at any one time. Again, this is more for chat's benefit than ours. Because it is actually true. You would treat a solo adventure very different than you would treat a small party, you know, like 3 people rotating from a pool of 5, or just 3 people in general.
Or 4 people.
Or 4 people rotating from a pool of 5, as opposed to a game like Final Fantasy VI, where it's so large that in the final dungeon you literally split into 3 separate parties.
Also, you could have a party of 3 or 4, right? And there is no... There's no extra backups. It's just literally 4 people.
Final Fantasy 2 and 3 do that. With Final Fantasy 2, you play the prince and a couple of other characters. I believe it's like his friends. In Final Fantasy 3, I think you just play the 4 characters you start with.
Yeah.
And in Final Fantasy 5, you just play Bartz, Ferris, Lena, and Gulluf until Gulluf dies, and then Gulluf is replaced by his granddaughter. So you have only 4 characters the entire game, and then of course there's a switch between 2 of them, and that's it. Yeah. So you can do all of that, you know.
Okay, so 4 people in the party. It's a static party. Okay, so there is no other extras. It is 4 people throughout the whole game. Is that what I'm seeing?
Yeah.
Am I getting that right?
Yeah.
There's just 4 people. It's constantly the 4 people, the same 4 people.
Yeah.
Okay. Cornered. Okay, got it.
Yeah. Correct.
All right. So
and go ahead and type up the battle gimmick if you get a chance to as well, so Teal in the chat can see that. Yeah, classes do not change. Right. We can see more about it here.
Okay, so you want warrior, druid, mage, and cleric.
Right.
Okay.
So let's start looking at this while KV types up the battle gimmick, because that is going to be important in brainstorming.
Okay.
So, all right, our classes are, we have warrior, which has MP and a magic attack, but normally does have access to spells or use magic. Normally a tank, but may be built to be a physical attacker. Okay, so you have some leeway as to how they're built, whether they're, you know, main tank, sub deeps, or deeps, I'm guessing sub tanks. Druid uses nature magic, which is elements, which is some elements.
Yeah, some of them.
And summons, so there's your summoner, can heal HP or provide stat buffs. Let us know if summons are just basically just spells with extra steps and animations, or if summons actually appear on the field and stay like the Aeons do.
Yeah, that's important to know.
That is important to know, because that would be an effective 5th member. It can heal HP or provide staff buffs, can be built to be a magic attacker or a physical attacker. And then the mage uses elemental spells, which is fire, ice, and lightning. Okay, some traditional Final Fantasy stuff.
DPS,
standard DPS, probably the glass cannon. Spells leave states on their targets that can amplify effects from other party members' attacks. Cool. And then clerics use spiritual magic to heal the party's MP and debuff. Okay, so the buffing comes from the druid, the debuffing comes from the cleric. Interesting.
Wait a minute, hang on a second.
What's up?
Whoa.
What's up?
Okay, so the druid heals HP, and the cleric heals MP.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. It's interesting.
That's an interesting take.
Okay, so battles will have strategic challenges opposers need to take. Things like an enemy with low HP but a very high defense, or a central enemy with high HP and minions that heal the central enemy. Right, so no, battles are generally not, I mean, I could be wrong, KV, but to your explanation that you gave me, battles are generally not what's called tank and spank, or crank and tank, or whatever. It's where you basically just take the HP and all the enemies are HP sponges and you just beat its ass until it dies.
Okay. That's not how it is.
Yeah.
It's a strategy.
Summons are effectively just projectiles. They show up, disappear. Think FF7. Okay. Yeah, they're just
OG
FF7. Yeah, they're just spells with extra animations.
Okay.
Okay, so right away I'm kind of looking at the differences between druid and cleric, which is what Teal was bringing up. And druid and clerics, so the HP and stat buffs are fine. Healing HP and stat buffs. Healing MP and debuffs are fine. Personally, I would switch it. Just thematically, I mean, now granted, if Divini, your world of Divini is different, then I can understand why you did it. But just off the top of my head, clerics heal HP because they're effectively healers.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm used to seeing. Is the cleric is
right.
your healing person, like,
right?
You know, physical.
While
HP.
Right. While druids, I could see more dealing with energy of the planet and healing MP and debuffing. Here's the problem, though. You've split. This is the big thing that I kind of see that really needs to be focused on. You have split 6 elements among 2 different people. Meaning that unless there is a really big difference between fire, ice, lightning, wind, earth, and water, what you've done is you've taken your elemental damage and you've split it amongst 2 people. And if a druid's primary thing is to do damage, then why not have it be through summons, through, you know, the druid has a lot going on.
They do. There's a lot that druid is doing, and I'm worried that the druid's doing too much.
Yeah.
The cleric's not doing enough.
Yeah, I agree. Like, for example, they do 3 of the 6 elements.
Yeah.
They do summons, which I'm going to assume summons can do other elements as well. So if you have a fire elemental, that's effectively fire damage. While the mage just does 3 elements with states.
Yeah.
Yeah. What I would recommend here, out of the starting gate, is let's redefine what druid, mage, and cleric can do somewhat. Now, we can leave cleric alone. If you really have your heart on the cleric healing MP and debuffing, we're not going to mess with that.
Yeah, we're not going to mess with that.
Ultimately, that's your design.
Yeah.
But druid and mage, I think there's too much bleed over.
There is. They're stepping on each other's toes.
And what I would see is that nature magic itself, okay, should be its own specific class.
I agree.
And have the nature magic be things like the buffs or the debuffs, whichever it is. And have the summons be its primary thing. I mean, after all, it's a druid.
Yeah.
Druids would summon things like dryads, nereids, what are those things that attack you all the time in frickin' Skyrim that are annoying little tree creatures? Fucking have taproot, spriggans. Yeah. Spriggans, stuff like that. You know, that's what I see the druid's strength being. Because if summons are just spells with animations, possible longer animations, there's no difference between it and a magic spell.
Yeah.
You know,
It's not unique.
it's not unique. It's not unique. So instead, make it unique by having the summons. And here's a thought: have the summons provide the buffs or the debuffs. Have the druid on his own only be limited to certain things, and have the summons be its core power.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know.
I can see the druid doing different elemental summons.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like the idea of nature magic, and I want to really define nature magic. Does it have to be elements? As Steele was saying, you know, nature, to me, it looks like I could really push into the buff and debuff thing. You know, I'm going to poison you. I'm going to blind you.
Yeah.
I'm going to, you know, with the mushrooms, you know, you're going to.
Yeah, I mean spores.
But the spores, you're going to increase your stats. I mean, to me, you know, a druid with nature magic, there's a lot of potential there, and it's not elements.
Yeah, I think you need to leave the elements to the mage, and you need to define what elements are, because right now you have fire, ice, and lightning.
Yeah.
Okay, so is that the direction you're going to go in? Do you want to have the mage throwing fireballs and ice spikes and calling down lightning strikes? Because that's badass.
It is badass.
You know, I don't have any issue against it, but then why can't they summon a tornado? You know, I mean, okay, that's magic. I mean, that's nature, you could say, but that's also, you know, lightning is nature. Yeah. Lightning coming down from the clouds, that's nature. You know, so you can build a case either way. I would say just move elements and any elemental damage you want to have to the mage.
To the mage.
And you don't have to have opposing elements. You don't have to have fire, ice, lightning, water, you know, the things that people usually do in these JRPGs.
Right. You know, you don't have to have 6 elements. You can have 4. You can have 3. This is your flavor, you know. Yeah. But the more elements you have, the more you're going to have to utilize them throughout your entire game. Yeah. You know, not just your party, but your enemies and your world. Yeah.
Also, you know, you're talking about building characters in different directions because, you know, right here, KV says, I have waffled on whether to give the player the option to build characters in one direction or another, or like build a druid specifically for summons, specifically for spells. Okay. It also depends on how long your game is.
That's true, yeah.
If your game is like going to be a 30, 40, 50 hour game, you know, that's one thing. Then you can have them grow like you do in Dragon Quest XI. You can have each of the characters grow in a different direction. Like you can have Serena go in one direction or another, you know. You can have Sylvana, basically all the characters.
Because you have the length of time to invest in that, so the player has time to grow the character.
But if your game is only going to be like 10, 20 hours, I definitely would say static roll. I would say don't give the players that many options. The options should be the applications of the skills in battle.
Yeah.
So that's going to be an important thing. It's supposed to be on the shorter side, so I'm fine with static growth. I want smaller, polished over longer content rich. Yeah, there you go.
Gotcha.
So definitely static. Let's see. I could see the druid doing different elemental summons based on the states. Great by the mage. Okay, cool. Yeah, we definitely want synergy here. Okay, so these are going to be Studio Blues notes. All right, so right here, let me go ahead and say in general. In general, push classes into a static roll. Okay, there we go.
Okay.
So we're gonna make a couple of notes here. Oh, thanks for the hydrate. Thank you for the hydrate.
Oh, thank you for the hydrate.
I'm gonna make a couple of static. We're gonna make a couple of notes here. First off, move elements to mage. Move elemental damaging to mage. Yeah, I think that's what we want to do, right?
Yeah. Yes, we do. Yeah.
Elemental mage damaging spells to mage. Have summons be the primary source of damage and buffs, debuffs. Do we want to recommend that debuffs move to the druid and his summons, or both?
No, this is nature.
Yeah.
And I feel buffs and debuffs.
Okay.
Okay, because a debuff is
Yeah.
dots, poison. I mean, that's like a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Blind, silence, that sort of thing. That is stuff that you can ingest in nature, have things happen.
Yeah, I agree.
That's very nature oriented.
Yeah, I agree. I think it needs to be both. I think having a little bit of overlap is fine. Not maj overlap, but overlap. Okay. Locate all elemental damaging spells, demanding spells here. Make them a glass cannon that the warrior and druid need to defend. Define what elements actually are and how each state applies to them. I'm going to go very briefly before we continue. This is actually something that I struggled with for a little while on the tabletop system we're making. Was what elements should stack to with what should pair with what states,
right,
and what status. And Teal was very helpful because she plays the elemental bait. She plays the glass cannon.
I do.
So
that was specifically so we could test that out.
So what it ended up being is originally both the water spell, like the most, so like fireball, lightning bolt, stuff like that.
Yeah, very basic.
And we had lightning bolt, which was the electric spell, and tidal crash or tidal rush, whatever it's called,
whatever,
which was the water spell, and both of them created a state called stagger because they both push you back. But then we looked at that and said that's redundant.
Yeah.
So what we did was we altered it up, and now stun, because it's lightning, because it's electrical, can stun the enemy.
Yeah, it does stun, and then we kept stagger with the water spell
because water pressure pushing people back.
Yeah. And
then it got a little easier from that point because we had both earth, which would make earth shoot up from the ground, as well as air do an airborne state. And we're like, well, it doesn't really make sense for rocks to do that. So rocks induce a state called wobbly, which is you're uneasy on your feet. It makes it harder for people to hit. It's a physical debuff. And then we kept airborne on the tornado, on the whirlwind, because whirlwinds push people up. And then fire and ice were easy. That's just burning and frozen. So what we ended up doing was we went through the 6 basic elemental spells that Teal's character uses, and we redefined how the states relate to them. And that's what we end up doing. I think you need to do the same thing here.
Yeah, I agree. And, to take it a step further, you can also, do I do a time limit on these states too.
What do you mean by that?
Well, I mean, if let's say they only last for a round or so. Yeah,
I see what you mean. Yeah, that's going to come down to the core methodology of his battle system, straight up. Because, I love bringing up how DQ11 handles buffs because, that's what ended up saving us in Act 2 and 3.
That's true.
Is you can stack like a defense up twice, but defense up only lasts like 3 rounds, meaning you're almost constantly refreshing it.
Yeah.
And that actually made it so that one of the strategies is to attack, buff, attack, buff, heal, buff. And it made using the characters in the party very strategigic.
Yeah, it focused on the strategy. Yeah.
Highly strategic gameplay.
Yeah.
You'll see hints of all the... Okay, so sounds like a plan. So warrior is tank. Totally getting your vibe at the beginning, what you're asking about, and the skills, know the characters, the static rules. I can dial in more. Yeah, cool. So let's continue here. So tank and not deeps, however, can deal out, here's the thing, heavy physical damage when the enemies are debuffed, placed in certain states, or otherwise made vulnerable. See what I'm doing here, Teal?
Yeah.
Anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, I'd keep it on physical damage.
Yeah.
No magic attacks.
Yeah.
Now here's the thing. Here's something to think about.
Okay.
A warrior with MP. Perhaps that goes to an attack with his weapon.
Yeah,
a kind
I can see
of
that.
attack.
Yeah, I can see that. I'm assuming, KV, that it's MP because this is RPG Maker.
Yeah.
And you're kind of limited as to what you can call the energy point thing.
Yeah, so maybe he has, if he has MP, then he has a special attacks with his weapon, and not any magic at all. And warriors should not have the magic.
And I'm assuming you're not using TP, because I believe RPG Maker, the late RPG makers like MV and MZ,
they have the tech points.
I believe they have tech points as well. Why not use tech points?
Then if that's the case, yes, warrior does tech points.
Yeah. And what you could do is you could have MP be something that he uses to charge his TP himself. So it's like have his skills normally do as he does skills or as he does abilities, as he attacks or is attacked, it builds TP naturally. But then it'd be that he has an MP ability, an MP consuming ability that fast charges that TP, like, chi focus or something.
That's true.
That's which we have that.
So that would be a use if you want the warrior to have MP.
Yeah.
Then that would be a use for it. But again, the warrior shouldn't have any magic.
Yeah.
No magic attacks.
Yes.
Nothing about that.
Nothing about that. I don't think there's a plugin that would allow you to change what it's called for him. It'd be cool if it was, because then you could call it like energy points or chi points or something like that, and then he could use quote unquote magical abilities, point consuming abilities that just buff him.
Yeah.
Because that's what I would see MP for a warrior being used, is they're selfish. He's a tank. He builds up his own defenses. He builds up his own strength.
He would build up, he would have a defense shell, and so he could absorb the damage better.
Okay, TP is going to be for ultimate attacks. Okay. So there's a plugin for renaming TP, make whole new gauges. Then if you can, I would consider, hold on. I'm going to write this down. Consider renaming or MP for the warrior, or making a new, we're just going to call it energy gauge, whatever.
Yeah.
For the warrior, and have their abilities be self-buffing. I'm going to draw a comparison again between this and the source system, the tabletop system. The character that Fox plays is the tank, and almost all of their abilities are to buff and make themselves stronger so they can tank incoming attacks.
Yeah.
They have a few that can help out, because there is definitely some cross-class pollination amongst most of the characters, so that they can pick up the slack in case a character's knocked out. But the majority of Fox's character, those abilities buff themselves. Or add protection to the person they're going to be protecting. For example, if they're going to cover and take the incoming blows to Teal's character, then they're going to buff Teal's character, buff themselves, and then put themselves in the front so that incoming attacks hit their character instead of Teal's character, which is a strat they use all the time.
Right. So, that's an idea for the warrior, and you don't have to even do that. You can leave that alone and let your other party members do the buffing.
Yeah. Now, let's talk about the cleric. The cleric.
Let's talk about this cleric.
Heal both HP and MP.
Yeah.
Just straight up. They need to heal both. Affect undead, evil things.
Yeah.
So you don't have to have a turn undead, but it could be light magic, spirit magic, that if it's something that is considered to be profane,
right,
the cleric can do damage or debuff it or stuff like that.
Yeah.
In fact, we'll say maybe only debuff them. And buffs for party related to recovery. Now, here's my thoughts on that.
Okay, what's your thought on the
So a buff for party related to recovery would mean maybe they, for the next 3 rounds, they recover 25% more HP from healing potions or other healing spells, whether it be from them, the druid, or whatever.
I get that. Item enhancement.
Yeah,
right.
item enhancement. Right. Any healing that comes in gets a higher percentage.
Yeah.
Any magical damage that comes in loses a percentage. So let's say that any magic that hits them does 25%. Stuff like that. And you can have it stack.
So the cleric, you know, I wasn't going to get into this yet, but I'm now thinking about it. Area effect spells, like, you know, there's some spells that you can have just it affects a person, one person, or it's shared, maybe two people, but an area effect spell encompasses the whole party. And so the cleric, I can see the cleric more than anybody else having this area spell where it's healing.
Yeah, like an AoE regen, or
like an AoE regen,
or
yeah.
AoE healing,
Yeah.
Honestly, I love the way Final Fantasy IV handles quote unquote AoE. It's at least it's 4 or 6. It's one of the two. So, like if you have Fira or Firaga and you point it at one enemy, you know, a little hand that points at your target. If it hits them, it's going to do the maximum damage that it can do against that enemy, depending upon the magic of your caster. But if you hit, I think it's either R1 or like you push to the right of the enemies or some shit like that, all of the enemies get selected.
Okay.
And it does less damage. It takes the damage average and spreads it out.
Yeah.
So every enemy will take less damage, but you're hitting all enemies simultaneously. You kind of see that in Final Fantasy VII and 7 Remake with the all materia.
Yeah, with the all material, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's important. Balance, of course, is important.
Yeah, and I would say in order to give the druid an edge, have summons be the only thing that AoE without spreading the damage. That they just naturally do it. If a summon AoEs, a summon AoEs.
Yeah.
I would keep that.
Yeah, I would agree. Summons need to have something special.
Yes. Treat your summons special. Because otherwise, they truly are nothing more than just spells with extra animations.
Spells with legs.
Yeah, it's my biggest issue with it is that most games treat summons like that. It's just a spell.
Yeah, and there's so much more you can do with them.
Yeah. But since you're using them as projectiles, as assuming as effectively spells, let's have it be that summons be the only thing that can AoE without lessening the damage.
Yeah, yes, that makes them special.
Yes. Or if you want, they're the only things that can AoE. That's also
well, that's also an option.
An option.
Yeah.
So I think we're good here. Let's just kind of recap.
Yeah, let's just
and see if we see any things. What we're doing now, if you can tell, is we've taken each of these and we've started pushing their skills based off of what they are. Instead of what we want to accomplish in the battle system, we're looking at what each one of those classes is to the battle system.
Yeah, what do they bring to it? Right.
And once we look at what the classes bring to the battle system, creating their skills is easier. Again, and we're doing a lot of equating to things like the source tabletop system, but this is stuff we've been thinking about for years now. One of the things you do in the source tabletop system when you're making a party with others is you figure what your role is. And when we did that, it was determined that Giba would play the support character, buff and debuff, as well as like the rogue. Fox would play the tank. Teal would play the hard deeps.
Yep.
And because they needed a healer, I played the healer. So we created what our roles were to each other and the world and what we wanted to accomplish. And then we started building the characters and the skills around that.
Right. That's exactly what we did.
And since we knew the battle system ahead of time, and you know the battle system ahead of time, you can kind of line those two up. You know what your battle system needs to do. So you define character roles, how they relate to the battle system, and then you start building the skills off of that.
So yeah, let's see what Chad has to say.
Not a whole lot. It's all KV talking.
Okay,
I'm assuming that we're going to keep a very low audience tonight because unlike artwork, this is a little on the lower side. Oh,
there we go. Piano Man Jesse.
Does it help me, Teal?
Okay. How do we begin to change the narrative that female lead characters are somehow inferior to male characters? It seems like the new God of War is getting some kickback because the main character, at least, is a female character lead. Yeah. This is a culture thing. And it is it is hard to change an entire culture in a short amount of time. It has taken us 15 years, almost 20 years, to even get to the point where female lead characters are taken seriously by a good number of gamers in the gaming community.
Yeah.
We are so not there yet that strong female lead characters are just as prolific as the male leads. All we can do is one game at a time, one story at a time, and just keep building that momentum. You know, the new God of War, I mean, I don't play God of War, but hell, I mean, I would purchase it just to support that particular game. Just because, yes, you do have a main character. And at the end of the day, it's numbers. How many sales have you got? So, you know, supporting games and stories that do have a strong female lead is so very important. And I think that's money well worth spent.
Agreed, yeah. To kind of go off of what KV says, it wasn't until recently that Zelda was the main player character in our game.
True.
Which actually, it's not particularly true. There's a CDI game. There's 2 CDI games where you play Zelda, but those games were trash because CDI was trash. That's a little bit of history there. Most people don't remember CD Interactive.
Oh.
By Philips. Okay. But I am actually going to mention Zelda and Peach.
Yeah, Princess Peach.
2 of the most iconic games in video game history. In fact, in many ways, 2 of the games that rescued the game industry. Remember, we've done this in our podcast. The game industry after the crash did not do good. It was bad.
It struggled.
Until a little company that was based off of trading cards primarily made a game with a plumber running left to right to stomp on mushrooms and turtles and rescue a girl.
Yep.
However, Mario was the boy in Super Mario Brothers, Luigi was player 2, and Princess Peach was the damsel in distress.
Yes.
And that continued in Zelda. Arguably a game that changed the way people look at the adventuring genre, not arguably. And what happened? Zelda was the one that needed to be rescued.
Yeah.
It was never about Zelda, it was about Link. Zelda wasn't even the objective. The Triforce was really the objective. Zelda was just the in-game goal.
But that has changed over the years.
Yeah. And it needs to be, in my opinion, if I can kind of jump in here, it needs to stop being that female characters, well, one, stop over-sexualizing female characters.
I'm looking at you, Bayonetta.
Just unbelievable. It's okay to have sex appeal.
Yeah.
It's okay for a character to be eye candy. They do that with with young men all the time. Look at the eye candy in Genshin Impact. Some of those males are hot, and I'm straight. But here's the thing. It doesn't need to be sexualization, but it also doesn't need to be the shtick is it's a female character.
Oh, God.
Samus Aran from Metroid. That was the big thing. When you got to the end of Metroid, you found out Samus was a girl. It wasn't about her being a strong female character. It was about the shtick of her being a female.
Yeah.
And that trend continued for a long time.
Yes, it did.
You know.
But so, yeah, circling back around, each game and story that comes out that successfully has a strong female lead,
yes,
support it.
And they need to have, now I don't know anything about the female in God of War. I hope to God she's not over-sexualized. They need to continue to have strong female lead characters who carry the weight. They don't necessarily push, I'm stronger than a man because I'm a woman.
Yeah, please don't do that.
I'm stronger than a man or other people because I'm stronger, because I've earned it.
Yeah, it's just like a male character. I'm strong, so I can take on the big bad.
Yeah.
So, it's a woman. She's strong. She can take on the big bad.
Still to this day, one of the best fucking examples of a strong female lead who is not overly sexualized. I think she's hot as hell and is strong because she's strong as Aloy from Horizon Zero Dawn.
That's true.
They
she was.
nailed her. They nailed her. They nailed it with her.
Yeah, they did.
A very strong character on her own basis. So I would say those games like this new God of War, older games like Kadoka, for example. I know it's an old ass game.
It's an old
but
game.
She was strong based on her own. She was not strong because she didn't need guys.
Parasite Eve.
I agree. The original.
The
original OG Parasite Eve. Those are the games, as Teal said, and to be supported.
Yeah. And so KB confirmed that the God of War lead is not overly sexy. Good. Yeah. Great. I like that.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Good job.
And you know, since sexy is subjective, as long as they're not sexualized, you can find a character god beautiful and she's not over sexualized.
Yeah.
Okay. That was a very, very good side tangent.
I like that. That was a good one.
Yes.
Thank you, Jesse.
You said it's been about, what, 10, 15 years and stuff?
Yes.
About how much longer do you think it'll take, realistically?
Oh, my God.
If you had to make an estimate for Kashi or whatever the hell that betting app is called.
Ooh. I'm
Draw a blank?
15 years.
Another 15? Yeah, I do think.
I'm sorry, because we've got the rise of the bro has come back.
Yeah.
The bro has fucking made a comeback. And I'm sorry to say that is what's happened.
It is unfortunate that I'm going to get on a soapbox for just a second, and then we'll get back to KV and J. It is unfortunate that toxic male culture. Yeah, I don't really want to say incel because it's more than that.
No, it's more than that.
Toxic male gamer culture has taken over and still has a chokehold on mainstream.
Yes.
To the point where those who want to appreciate male eye candy are reduced to gacha games like the Hoyoverse, Genshin Impact, and stuff like that. It should be all mainstream, all AAA, everything across the board. You know. All right. God damn, that sounds like something we can talk about more tomorrow night.
We probably could, but let's move on.
Let's move on.
So,
Jay did say he thinks he has thoughts down. Send it via DM. Don't want to just be anyone at the doc wants to steal until due for notes. Okay, cool. Yeah. If we don't get to it tonight, we'll look at it next week.
Yeah.
All right. You're welcome, Piano Man. You're welcome. All right, let's get back to this.
Okay.
All right. So I think we're good here. KV, let us know if there's anything here where you're confoozled. But I think it's, again, just how these relate to your world, to your story.
Yeah.
And then build them into your battle system, you know. This guy takes the damage and deals it out when he can. This guy has, you know, buffs, debuffs, and, you know, the summons, which are
summons. Which, you know,
utilitarian, basically.
Yeah. He is utilitarian, which is awesome.
This is your glass cannon who does a doom. They do a killing.
Yep.
And here is your rescuer.
Yeah, the rescuer. I like that. That's a good way to put that. The rescuer. Yeah.
So before we move on, nope, this was great. Megan,
good job. Okay.
Good. All right.
So let's go to the skills now.
Yeah, let's go to the skills because we don't have to touch this one right now. We need to touch skills. All right.
Yeah.
So the problem with this is now a lot of these skills are going to need to be revamped to fit this methodology. So
they need to have the class reassigned.
I'm gonna go here. We're gonna sort your sheet. Here we go. I think advanced range sorting option, data row, and we want to go by class. And then after that, we want to go by the name because why the hell not? All right, here we go. Look at that. Look at that.
So the cleric.
All right. So. God, cleric has got a lot of shit.
Woo!
Oh my God! What is all these skills, bro?
Holy smoke!
All right.
Wow!
We can probably smack some of this down a little bit and kind of do it now. KV, I'm gonna go ahead and hide formulas because at this point I think we're not really gonna focus on your damage formulas for RPG Maker.
Yeah, not right now.
Yeah, that's something once you have your methodology down and you know exactly what you want them to do.
Yeah.
So, yeah. You got a lot of ideas. No wrong.
Absolutely. Yeah. Let's just refine some of this.
Yes. All right. So let's I think what we should do is we should pick a class, and we can start with cleric. I'd rather start with warrior, and let's just kind of go down the line.
You want to start with warrior?
Let's
start with warrior. Let's go down here.
I think warrior is going to cause me the least and the most headache at the same time. All right. So let's just kind of read them real quick. Let's just kind of go down real quick.
Okay. Whatever floats your boat.
Okay. So amplify strength is attack and defense on one ally. Battle cry raises an ally's attack. Already seeing a problem there. Body slam smashes enemy, so it does damage. Chop does damage. Command aura increases all allies' combat stats temporarily, so that's a buff. Concussion, that's cool. Cut is an attack plus. Okay. There we go. I think cut's getting in the right idea there. Devastator, big huge boom damage. Dual strike is 2 random enemies. Cool. Field medic is okay. So now he's healing. Flurry, which is another attack. Fury. Okay, so I think instead of having to read through all this, we can kind of see where he's going here.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of cover 100 HP cleric. Is that an ultimate or something? Oh, that's the ideas there. I see. Okay, these are unassigned.
Right, they're unassigned.
So we'll go ahead and mark those as a yellow for the moment. I know it's a bitch ass yellow. Hold on. That's what steel meant to do. Okay. That's unassigned. All right. So out of the starting gate, the problem here is that you automatically have things which are doing essentially the same thing or doing something but less. And because this is a short game, you don't want to have to grow your spells. You just want to either add more. Your skills. You either want to add more, or you want to have them have all of them in a lesser number, and they grow. The skills grow as the game goes. Pick one.
Yeah, pick one.
Instead of going back and forth here. So amplify strength is a stronger version of battle cry, because while battle cry raises an ally's attack, amplify strength does attack and defense. And it does a special cool little state thing, which I like that state of amplification.
No, but I don't. Okay, you're talking about the warrior doing buffs.
Correct. Self-buffing.
But okay, he needs to self-buff, but this is buffing allies.
Which is why I think we should change this to self-buff.
Yeah, self-buff.
And here's the reason why. This is your gold right here. Amplified strength state. You've already said that if they're amplified, so you say it here. Let me go ahead and mark it down. So you say here that this is the amplified strength state, which you now mention here. You reference it. Here's your connection between the two.
Got it.
This normally does one enemy once. This will amplify them and will do this. So this should not be on allies. This should be on self.
Yeah.
This should be on self. Now, what this can do here is battle cry can amplify an ally. Now, if you don't want to have it on the warrior, you would move that to the druid or the cleric. But you see, amplification should be something that all party members can have. But I think only the warrior should be able to, the warrior can only amplify himself.
I agree with that. Yeah. Anything that is doing something for an ally, that needs to be somebody else doing.
Right. I agree. Because the tank needs to be selfish. The tank needs to care about themselves more because their job is to take the enemy's abuse.
Right, and we're also talking about action economy. So if you have the tank using up his action to do something for an ally, then he's not attacking. He's not covering. He's not doing his job.
Yeah.
He's not being a tank. So, yeah, we got to watch that action economy, too.
Now, what I think Battle Cry can be turned into, or could be continued to call Battle Cry, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter the name.
Is turn this into a taunt. Draw aggro.
That's it.
Draw aggro.
Draw aggro.
Good... In fact, what you're going to want to do, and we do this in the source system, is have multiple different types of abilities draw aggro. You know, the big joke whenever Fox does it is she does a skill and says, I'm tanking.
Yeah.
Which is a reminder to me that they're now drawing aggro because that's how a skill. So have multiple skills draw aggro. So have Battle Cry, instead of it raising the ally's attack, we'll go ahead and mark that red. You know, we'll say it does. This is an enemy, so we'll say change that to enemy. Well, actually, no, I don't want to mess with that. Turn this to taunt, draw aggro, one enemy. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, that works. So there it is. So this draws taunt. This draws aggro from one enemy.
Yeah.
There we go. Change. Taunt, draw aggro, one enemy. Actually, it doesn't matter. You guys can't see off screen. I'm just being nitpicky.
Scroll down. Is there an ability called taunt down there?
Oh, there is. Okay.
Okay. So taunt would be one enemy. Battle cry would be multiple.
Ooh, I like that. I like that. Okay. Taunt for multiple enemies. You're right. You're right. Good catch, Teal. I'm sure he's saying that right there and there. Fear formula is being selfish is all the damage belongs to them. Yes. Jay Dulles says, I guess F-14 pilots get the memo. They have skills taking abuse, and their allies take as well. That's an MMO. This is a short JRPG. Very different. When you have an MMO and you're talking about dynamic parties where you don't know what job classes your allies are going to be when you go into a dungeon or a raid, unless you're specifically playing with your friends. MMOs, you have to handle things differently because you have to be able to handle different aspects of the adventure.
Right.
This is completely different. So I like that. So Battle Cry, taunt for one enemy. I like that. So we're just marking that as red.
Okay, so let's go down to taunt and let's define.
Yeah.
Because what you wrote.
Cause enemies. Okay. So targets and affects one enemy.
To draw aggro.
Yeah. To draw aggro. Okay, there we go. Affects one enemy, targets one enemy. We don't have to put all this. KB smart. Okay, cool. And now what we can do is we can start looking at other skills that the warrior can do and say that it draws aggro.
Yeah.
You know, because now we kind of have built up, again, we've built up methodology. We've built up a precedent that multiple abilities can draw aggro. That way the player can start saying, oh, well, I don't want to taunt, I don't want to battle cry, but I want to do something that's going to draw aggro.
Right.
So you could have something like, now I don't know if he has a ability to, no, he doesn't. So let's just go this.
Devastator.
Yeah, but hold on. I want to look at something that increases their defense. So we'll just call this, we'll just add a row. Insert one row. And we'll call this defense up because defense growth, someone has that, cool. Defense up raises warrior's defense, okay? And this is self, and this is just defense stat up. And then we put down here, draws aggro.
Yeah.
Because the enemy sees someone increasing their defense and they're like, oh, hell no.
Yeah.
We're going after this guy. We're going after this guy. Change to self buff. You could also say this draws aggro. Because now they're going to be hitting with something harder. So there you go. That can draw aggro. But you don't have the attacks. I think the attacks themselves shouldn't be the things that cause draw aggro, except for stuff like Devastator, you know, big, huge, super
Well,
attack.
yeah, Devastator, right. But just your simple attacks, your skills, whatever, that's not going to draw aggro.
So, for example, chop, cut, these kind of things, smash. Let's look at cut. I want to look at cut for a moment.
Okay.
I love this. I love the fact that if it's amplified, it slashes an enemy 3 times.
I like that too.
Whatever you end up calling it is fine.
Yeah.
Nothing really to say here other than I think all of your abilities, all your skills for warrior need to have something based off of if it's amplified, that if it attacks. So body slam smashes an enemy under armor. Do we have like an armor attack?
I don't know. Like if he hits the if he hits the enemy so hard, their armor cracks or something.
Yeah.
You know, it damages their armor. Concussion?
That's
that's not it.
Okay, so let's say body slam.
That targets an enemy's
Shift
armor.
to armor sundering.
Sundering.
Yeah, sundering. Oh, sundering. If amplified, so what can we do to that? Does it remove more? Does it remove it longer? What would we say?
I'd say if it's amplified, then it does more damage to the armor.
There you go. Okay.
That to me that makes more sense.
Yeah, damages armor more.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever its cooldown state is, or whatever, if the enemy's armor recovers, or if it doesn't, if it's amplified, it just does more. So now you're building it so that amplification helps more than just a few things. Chop is just a stronger hit. I think we need to keep that. I think we can cut this. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. It seems to be just kind of a redundant.
Yeah, Command or increases allies' combat skills temporarily. That's a buff.
That's a buff.
I want to give that to someone else. Concussion, I actually like this.
I like concussion.
Even though it is a debuff, it's the kind of debuff he would give. So I would say have amplified version be what affects magical defenses. Otherwise, only armor. What do you think of that? Otherwise, only physical defenses.
Oh, yeah, physical defenses, right.
Yeah. So there you go. Or, now hear me out. A concussion doesn't really allow you to absorb. It allows you to attack. Because think about it. If you have a concussion, you can't focus on causing damage.
Yeah, I don't want it. I don't want it to be similar to your body slam where it's sundering an armor, where it's damaging the armor.
So yeah, have it affect attack.
What
do you think? What do you think?
Okay, so a concussion, yeah, I'd say it does attack. It should affect attack rather than defense.
I got it. Here we go. It doesn't even affect magic. Okay. Hold on, we're just gonna go this one. Normally only affects the 2-hit. If amplified, tell me if you like this one.
Okay.
Then affects physical attack, physical damage. So that way it hits the enemy and it affects their ability to hit, because that's concussion, you're not focusing.
Right. I get it.
But if it's amplified, you hit him so hard, even if he hits, he's not going to hit that hard. What do you think?
Yeah. That's an idea.
Yeah. Got any others?
Affects to hit, but if it's amplified, let me see what it says. Okay, affects physical damage. Oh, so I don't know. I'd have to noodle on that. That's something that maybe you can noodle on a bit.
Boink. And then we'll do this. We're just gonna make it easier to read by wrapping. Come on, Oz.
Yeah, wrap text.
Wrap that
Wrap
text. Wrap that text alignment. Wrapping. There we go. Wrap.
There we go.
Have a wrap session. Let's see what KV said. He said maybe armor break is the one that lowers defensive stats. Concussion lowers attack. Yeah, I think that's kind of the direction we're going.
That's a good direction. Yeah, that's a really good direction.
Yeah.
I didn't want the two to bleed over into each other. So
agreed.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
So affects attack. You know, I want to move on. I can't really think more on that. That's something that KV can noodle on and
I want to talk a little bit more about Devastator.
Yeah. Oh, I like.
I think Devastator needs to require something. I think it needs to require a couple of things. So
because that is an ultimate.
Yeah. Even if it's not an ultimate, it's still an ultimate. So requires amplification. Mm-hmm. And I'm gonna say some buff from cleric, druid, something. Like, in other words, they have to be built up for it. They can't just do it.
Well, if it's a party member, then it has to be the cleric.
Okay. You know, and then it draws aggro.
Oh God, yeah. Oh shit, yeah.
And give this bitch a cooldown, man.
Cool. Must have cooldown. Holy shit.
I mean, I'm assuming all your stuff has a cooldown, but this sucker definitely needs to have a cooldown. Because when you say massive damage, I imagine this guy jumps into the air, comes down, and shockwaves the shit out of everything like fucking Beatrix from Final Fantasy.
Conan the Barbarian.
Boom.
Oh yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Massive damage.
That's what I'm saying. A team buffed ultimate, yeah. You know, this may not be quote unquote the ultimate that the TP bar uses. I don't know if that was the intent, but it still requires it. And now you're building into where your battle system requires the people to work together.
Yeah.
Because he has to amplify himself. The cleric has to do something. Then he can hit with.
Yeah.
You
know, now that leads me an idea. What if the warrior has 2 other abilities similar to that, where he has to be amplified, and then the mage does something.
Oh, I like that.
He has to be amplified, and the druid does something.
I like that.
So that right there, the party is supporting this warrior.
Oh, I like that a lot. I like that, especially if we give like now obviously KB can go and continue to brainstorm these, but you know, if we give everybody something that can kind of state build everyone else. I'm gonna put that as a note right now.
Put that as a note. That's a good note.
Consider having every class have a state buff for themselves and for an ally, which prepares them for using stronger skills. Example, e.g. amplify strength and inspire for the warrior. Which, that's funny. Stop that. Overlap, there we go. Because you talk about inspire right here. So instead of this increasing a enemy's stats, have this, hear me out, tell me what you think. This could be adds the state buff inspired to an ally required for some skills. What do you think? So in other words, here we go. So hear me out.
Yeah, let's explain that. Yeah, break this down for me.
And all 4 of the characters can do this. So we'll take it just from the warrior. The warrior has 2 things that I call state buff or skill buff or something. Okay. The warrior has one that affects just himself. That's amplify strength. That is something he puts on so that his physical attacks do more.
Right.
Like cut or whatever. While he also has inspire, which would put a quote unquote state buff inspire on one of his allies.
So
cleric, druid, mage.
Right. So then the ally does their own self thing, and then boom, they have an attack that is just like the Devastator.
And you can change what the state buff does for each person. So maybe inspire does something different for cleric than it does for mage. Maybe it just makes the mage's spells more effective.
Right. You know,
they just hit harder. Or they have a higher percentage chance of a state or whatever status is on there.
Yeah.
You know, like setting the bad guys on fire. Stuff like that. And that's what Inspire does. So Inspire then for the druid may make it so that his summons have a lesser cooldown.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. And you have each of the 4 characters has that. Now you're forcing the players to work with each individual character depending on what they want to accomplish.
Yeah, that's right. You as teamwork and strategy, you're really pushing that.
Yeah. So let's put this here as a note as well. Go ahead and make this a little bigger in case we need to get rid of these wraps. Overflow, there we go. Have the state consider having the state buffs that each class bestows on their allies do something different for each ally, e.g. Inspire does something different. I know I gotta check my spelling.
It's alright.
For the mage than the cleric.
No, for each ally. Make sure you say each ally there. Okay.
Now, what do you think? How can we add to this, or what do you think? Let's think from both a critical standpoint.
I don't know.
You don't have anything? Okay. Like, this is gonna put a lot of work on KV. So what do you think?
Okay. It depends on KV if you really do want to push the whole teamwork strategy thing. You're going to have to come up with 4 different unique ways of inspiring working.
Yeah.
Of inspire working.
Yeah. You know, and
but that means you're gonna absolutely have to cut down on all these skills.
100%.
Because you're gonna end up with skill bloat.
Yeah.
Like way too much.
Yeah, a lot of these need to be cut. Like we could cut dual strike. We could cut flurry. We can cut these. You know, I'm just gonna say that we don't need to go through each one, but cut this. You know, we don't need all that.
Right.
You know. And let's see. So you have 4 allies.
Mm-hmm.
4 party members.
Yeah, 4 party members.
They can use their ally state buff on 3 others. So 3 times 4 is 12. You're gonna have to come up with 12 different ways that state buffs can work. And that's not just for doing skills. Because while Devastator requires Amplify Strength and whatever state buff the cleric can give, for example, what does the cleric state buff normally do on the warrior? It can't just be just for Devastator.
Right.
You know, what does it do? Does it make the warrior regen? Does it make the warrior hit harder? Does it make the warrior take less damage? There you go.
Oh, I like that. Takes less damage.
You know, like takes less magic damage.
But yeah, I agree with there, and that's you're going to need to have a little bit more focus for sure to each of these each party member has to have an ability that they can use on their fellow party members.
Yes.
Just one. Keep it to 1.
And then instead of brainstorming all of these skill ideas, because while these are good, there's nothing wrong with these on the most basic level. They're fine. You now have your methodology, and now you can go back and remake all of these.
You certainly can. You can combine a couple of those, and definitely you'll be cutting a lot.
Yeah. So my question to you, KV, is has this given you the place you need to be to keep moving? Because while we can indeed keep brainstorming, we can indeed keep brainstorming skills, I think I'm not trying to gas myself, what Teal and I have given you more of is a place for your battle system to be where you can brainstorm the skills.
Yeah.
Okay, we gotta help me steal.
Okay.
Sorry, throat.
Should each class provide a unique buffing state, like Warriors Inspire, Druids Growth, or should they just bestow a generic amplified state?
It should be unique.
Unique. Absolutely unique.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And like we said, Inspire should do something different for each class, because you're going to inspire a person differently.
Yeah, a cleric is going to inspire somebody differently than a mage would.
Yeah, exactly. And we don't know the relationship of these people. I don't remember if they're all like siblings or if they all grew up in the same orphanage. But let's say that the warrior is like the big dude or girl who basically protected everybody from bullies in the orphanage.
Yeah.
Like that. Okay, so he protected everyone from the. So his inspire for the cleric might be, hey, the cleric was kind of a very faith-driven person, and the other kids of the orphanage were kind of mean to them because they made fun of their faith. Okay, so that inspire is believe in yourself and believe in your gods. While the mage, he was the nerdy kid that got picked on a lot, and the inspire there is believe in your intellect, that kind of thing.
Yes, yeah, that's just ideas.
Narrative.
Come up with a good narrative.
The mechanics will quote me on this. If you come up with a narrative reason, the mechanics will fall into place.
Yeah.
This has been great. Exactly what I needed. This project is going to make some huge progress as soon as I have the time to sit and apply this feedback.
Well, that's perfect.
Very cool. So we're going to take a quick break, go to the restroom, then we're going to see what Jay has in store and see if it's something we can tackle in its entirety tonight or if we got to split it up or whatnot. So we'll be right back.
We'll be right back, guys.
See you momentarily.